Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, and welcome to Day 5 of the Wayne Sharp World Knife of the Year Awards for 2023, where today we are taking a look at the most expensive category, the $250 and up category. And the one real unique thing about this list we're about to take a look at, first of all, there's only 6 knives, so this is definitely the smallest list, but this entire list is made up of completely different manufacturers, which is really cool, or at least different brands. Looking at these, there may have been one or two made by the same manufacturer, but completely different brands, and that's really cool. I really like that. I think that's a really cool little note to make about this. Let's get right into it. We got 3 honorable mentions, and we got our top 3, and we will crown a champion in this price category. Now, first up is this guy right here. This is the Giant Mouse Knives Ace Tribeca. I know you guys just saw this one yesterday, but this is the one I own. And while I do think that the micarta version or G10 version of this knife is probably the better value, and I think $225 or $215-ish, whatever that price was, I still can't help but just say how much I love this knife. Even this exact knife for $285. The titanium scales, I love titanium. You're going to see a little trend here within these knives that you'll see at the end of the video. It'll all come clear to you. But the titanium, I'm just a huge fan of titanium. Magna Cut, titanium and Magna Cut. Yeah, match made in heaven, $285. Phenomenal detent, beautiful blade shape. Perfect ergos, literally perfect ergonomics on this. I could not like the handle and ergos of this knife any more than I already do. And yeah, just a really nice size for EDC. Love the middle finger flicking action. And as you already saw, the flipper on this guy works really, really well too. Bent over wire deep carry clip. Yeah. It's an amazing knife. And I don't want you to think, I don't think you're getting ripped off at $285 for this because, of course, Magna Cut is not cheap, and neither is titanium. So the price is justified. It really is justified. I just think that the better value is probably the G10 or micarta. But hey, sometimes value's not everything. Value is important. Sometimes it's not everything. This is a prime example of that because I just love this design however you can get it. The Giant Mouse Knives Ace Tribeca is an absolute home run, and I can't get enough of it. Next up here, we have an American-made beauty. This is the Tactile Maverick, coming in at $350. We have Magna Cut and all the milling on the titanium. This is probably one of the 2 best values in this video here because, of course, we're talking American-made, all this machine time and the milling on the handles. This really could be number 1 if we're going just off value. I really do enjoy everything about this. It's a super casual, classy, maybe like a bigger gentleman's carry. Really good action. I wouldn't say it's phenomenal action, but really good. This is broken in really well. When I first got it, it was super stiff, and it was hard to even shake the blade shut. I've got to the point now to where it is very smooth. The blade has still stayed very nice and centered on me. So yeah, not many complaints here. I would like to see maybe something done, some type of improvement to the clip. I can't say I love the clip. I think it looks good. I've never been a big fan of the standoffs on the back of a clip. I just prefer a regular milled bent over clip or a milled clip. But outside of that, this knife is just exceptionally well done. Richard Rogers with a killer design and properly heat-treated Magna Cut, 62 to 63. You gotta love that. And of course, you gotta love the fact that it's American-made. I mean, it's hard to find a lot of American-made knives with as good a value as this. And don't get confused. Value is not always cheap, affordable. You can get a really good value knife at $50. You can also get a really good value knife at $350. And that's what you're getting here with this. I truly believe that because between the materials, the machine time, the fit and finish, and the origin of the manufacturing, I mean, it adds up to what I think is a very solid value. And the Tactile Maverick is just a great stinking knife. One that if you're looking for a premium American-made piece that's not $600, this is probably your best bet right here, the Tactile Maverick. Next up here, last knife before we get into our top 3 is coming out of Vosteed. This is the RSK AOS, and this has some of the most addictive flipping action I have handled on a knife in quite some time. You kind of have like this compression style lock back here with a very nice button design that makes it very easy to get to and disengage that lock. And yeah, it's just, ooh, so good, so smooth. This guy was coming in at $249, which basically put it at 250 bucks. So yeah, middle finger flicking action. Oh, so good. Really good ergos. A design that may or may not be for everybody, but I love the blade shape on this. Really love the blade shape, and I believe RS Knifeworks, the designer here, just did a really good job of making a big, overbuilt, chunky slicer, because this still has a really nice edge on it, really nice, aggressive, different looks. And I love it. I think Vosteed, this was the first real premium knife to come out of Vosteed, and they made a lot of noise with this. I don't think people look at Vosteed and think like high end right away or premium, like $200+ knives. I'm here to tell you the $200+ knives coming out of Vosteed are as good as just about any other Chinese manufacturer out there based off what I've handled. I've been super impressed with them, whether it was the Dachshund at 200 or the mini mini Thunderbird at 200 or this RSK AOS at 250. Just it's perfect execution, great blade, super fidgety, really unique knife, and one I would highly recommend. They come in batches. There may or may not be some of these available. I'll, of course, have a link to it regardless. You guys can check it out on Vosteed. But the RSK AOS is definitely one I would recommend taking a look at if you want a premium Vosteed. Now we're in our top three. And coming in at number 3, let me explain myself here, because this is the Jack Wolf Knives After Hour Jack. Now, this is technically not exactly 3. We're going to say this is like 3B, because the true number 3 for me was the Jack Wolf Knives Gunslinger Jack. It was a front flipper, very much like this. The only difference was, it was a very different knife. It had a different blade shape. It had a different handle. But the consistencies it had was, I believe it was the same price, and obviously a Jack Wolf knife, and it was a front flipper with a fuller to middle finger flick it, and that's what really made me fall in love with both of these knives. Now, the reason I'm putting the Jack Wolf Knives Gunslinger Jack at the true number 3 is because I prefer that blade shape. I really like that blade and handle shape a little more than the After Hours Jack, but I still am just... The After Hours Jack has the same action as the Gunslinger Jack that is like mind-blowingly good to me. Now, this is coming in at 350 bucks, so it is an expensive knife. And I've really been... I was shocked. When I uploaded the video, my review of this, I was really surprised at how many people was like, nothing special there. I was like, yeah, that's kind of what I thought too until I got it in hand. And I mean that for the Gunslinger Jack as well as the After Hours Jack. I thought, okay, it's another front flipper. It's probably very much like a Pena, and that's that. No, it's not. This is, in my opinion, is considerably better than a Pena because it's longer. You get more blade length, but the action is better. The action is truly better. The front flipping action is better, and most Penas don't even have middle finger flicking as an option. The middle finger flicking action on this, get out of town. It's amazing. It is so good, so smooth, perfectly dialed in detent. A razor's edge on both of these. Whether you're talking the Gunslinger Jack or the After Hours Jack, we're looking at like 14 thousandths behind the edge. So it's an absolute laser beam, nice, super amazing hollow grind. All of the lines, I love that little swedge up here. And the Gunslinger Jack also had some very attractive lines. I'll try and find a link to the Gunslinger Jack just so you guys can see what it looks like. They may make another run of it, but it's a ways down the road when they do, because Jack Wolf has some certain plans for their runs that I think a lot of it is already kind of planned out. So if there is any repetitive production runs, it's going to be further down the road. I hope and pray and have my fingers and toes crossed that they make more Gunslinger Jacks, because I've got to have one. But the After Hours Jack will hold me over for now, because it is also a phenomenal knife. Great front flipping action, great everything action, amazing fit and finish. You're going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it. It's 350 bucks, but that's what this category is for, is expensive knives. And I love Jack Wolf knives. I love their front flipping knives and locking knives. And the After Hours Jack or the Gunslinger Jack is an absolute home run, in my opinion. Now, number two. Number two is a hard one for me because at the end of 2022, I said, I may have the knife of the year right here because this thing is freaking amazing. And it didn't quite hold on to that top spot at the very end, but it is coming in at number two. And what I'm talking about is the Null Knives Voodoo. Look at this guy. It is still a huge banger in its own rights. It has incredible ergos. The design is so different, so out there, but everything works. Everything flows. Everything looks amazing. I love the swedge. Love the harpoon. Love the little curved point up here. Love the slicey edge. It's got all the deployment options. You can front flip it, or you can thumb flick it. You can middle finger flick it. You can do just about anything to it you want to deploy that blade. And man, oh man, this is such a unique design. Sean over at Null Knives just does such a good job of, one, being consistently unique in his designs, and this right here, the Voodoo, is just out there. I mean, it is so different. The ergos are just like, oh, it's literally hand-hugging good. Hand-hugging ergos. You can choke up if you want, and it still feels really good. And it's just awesome. It's just one of those knives that's so different and works so well in every aspect of what I look for in a knife when it comes to fit and finish, to an attractive, unique design, when it comes to the ergos, when it comes to a perfect detent. This has all that. Now, you'll pay even a little more for this one. This version here was $395. I think they were a little less. I think there were some versions out there for like $345 or $355. But they went up to like $395, and I think there was even some that were over $400. But man, oh man, I wouldn't blame anyone for buying any version of this Voodoo. Still an amazing knife, still one I plan on holding on to for quite a while, and I'm kind of thinking about taking all the raw titanium and getting it like DLC coated. I think that would be really, really rad. But regardless, I am over the moon for the Null Knives Voodoo, and it just got beat out just by the ever so slightest amount, and coming in at number one, and my favorite knife of the year for $250 plus is the Kunwu Padre. Now, some people have issues with the handle of this knife. Some people don't like the fact that there's this much handle coming down here. But this is what I love about this knife, because all of the knives you just saw on this list, they were in the $250 to $400 range, and they all felt like what they were worth. So the Voodoo, it feels like a $395 knife. There's a lot of good things going on here. The Jack Wolf knives, it feels like a $350 knife. It's a phenomenal knife. This Padre is a $299 knife, but it feels like a $500, maybe even a $600 knife. This thing just feels different. In terms of value, this is the other knife next to the Maverick that, from a value standpoint, this is probably, you could argue this is better value, because I will say I don't think the Maverick, I don't think it feels like a $500 knife. Like, I think it's a really good value for $350, and I think it feels great for $350. But again, we're talking a $299 knife that feels like a $500+ knife. Because it has all the details. You have so much machine work into this knurling and diamond texture on the handle. You have all the internal milling in there to take out so much weight. You have a bank vault lockup. You have all of the details. You have Damascus on the pivot collar there. You have so many amazing things going on. A great clip, great milled clip in and out of the pocket with no problem. And then you have a blade of Vanex, which you don't see a lot of Vanex. Vanex is a very expensive steel, and a blade shape that is just over the moon. Like, oh my God, the blade shape on this thing is insanely attractive to me. I love this blade shape, and I love the ergos. That finger choil is, oh, so good. And this is like the preferred grip for me. Now, you can move back here, and this is still just as good of a grip. If I was going to like really power through a cut, that's probably what I would do. But for most of my cuts, I'm going to use this finger choil. And this is like Spyderco Shaman good. Like, it is so good in the hand, and it's just so damn good looking. I mean, come on. This is pretty easily my favorite knife of the year for $250 plus. I could not have been more surprised with the overall feel of this knife. The fit and finish is great. The materials are phenomenal. All the details are amazing, but the feel of this knife in hand, the smooth action, just the overall balance of the knife is what makes it feel like a $500+ knife. And I will stand behind that. And I own a Konigarius. I've handled numerous knives that were $600, $700, $800 plus. Now, I'm not saying feels like an $800 knife, but it feels like every bit of a $500+ knife. And for $299, that's value. That is one amazing knife. The Kunwu Padre, the champion in the $250+ category. And let's bring out the rest because there's no losers in this video, guys. All of these knives, while they're all expensive, they are all, if they're available, of course, because a lot of these probably are not available. This is the one category where it may be a little hard to get your hands on some of these. Not all of them, though. The RSK AOS, it'll make some appearances in stock, as well as the Maverick. I would think you'd probably find the Maverick as well. But yeah, what a year for knives, guys. And it's not over yet because tomorrow we are picking a grand champion of all the price categories for one overall champion. And there's 5 contestants, guys, and all 5 have a very strong shot because there are some amazing knives in every price category. There you go, guys. The best knives in the $250+ category based off my experiences from what I handled this year are right here. Let me know what you think. I'm going to be coming to you guys tomorrow, and we are crowning an overall champion for 2023. I cannot wait to bring it to you, and until then, I'm out.